Hey everyone, I hope you are doing well. Just wanted to showcase a fun little video here with Haxorus, and apologies for the lack of uploads lately. It's been a little bit busy over here, but we just had the Axu Community Day, and Haxorus, with the new move of Breaking Swipe, is actually been seeing some usage here in the Great League. This is still a time for the Great League, by the way, just in case you weren't aware. But I am showcasing it here. This isn't my team specifically. There was another content creator who got showcased with this team, Smudgy B, and that team is consisting of a Noctowl, a Stunfisk Say Swap, and a Haxorus in the back. So, of course, Haxorus now with the move of Breaking Swipe is actually really good. Breaking Swipe basically is an improved Dragon Claw and now gives the attack drop chance, so it is actually very good in prolonging and winning certain matchups that it couldn't win before. And I am running counter. You can definitely run it with Dragon Tail as well. It'll just probably perform a little bit better, and I think counter just gives Haxorus a lot of actual coverage, but there are still certain Pokemon that can wall off both of its fast moves, but I think overall counter does have a lot more good play here. And of course, as I mentioned, pairing it with Noctowl and Stunfisk, the Galarian Stunfisk, of course, two very meta Pokemon here that can absolutely wreak havoc on whatever is in the meta right now. And what I'm going to do here, as you can see, I'm just going to shoutcast this battle now. Going to go ahead and tank the Breaking Swipes and then come into my own Haxorus, and I can catch the move. Although I understand that Haxorus is very glassy, so even the Stone Edge, as you can see, did like more than half of Haxorus's health, even coming from a from a stab Stone Edge from a Bastiodon, which isn't that attack weighted. So just gonna throw a Breaking Swipe here at whatever they come in with. It's gonna be that Pelipper, and I'm just gonna risk it a little bit here and just see how far I can go. But at this point, I'm pretty close to a Sky Attack here, so all I need to do is just to commit one shield, and I should be in good shape to make a Sky Attack here against this Pelipper. Made it closer than it should have been. I should have just shielded the Haxorus and countered down the Bastiodon from there, but it's okay. I will still be able to showcase Haxorus in just a little bit, but in any case, we end up taking that win there, and with this specific set, I was able to get a 4-1. And so we are coming into a Noctowl versus Altaria lead. So this is pretty neutral overall. There's no real clear winner here, but just going to stay in this matchup to start and see what the Altaria wants to do. They're just probably going to let this go, and then they're probably going to go for their own Sky Attack here, and that's fine. I can tank one here, no problem. Just going to let this Sky Attack go, and I do decide to swap in the Stunfisk here to check for a counter user or something like that, and they are staying in here for a little bit, so that's very interesting. I'm going to let this move go. Nothing from the Altaria will do a lot of damage here, so Sky Attack's coming through, does a little bit of damage here. I'm going to go for a Rock Slide here, hoping to take out this Altaria or force a shield. But as you can see, they're shielding, so there is something in the back that actually doesn't want to see the Stunfisk, and it actually turns out to be a Clefable that's running Charm still. So very interesting here. I'm going to go straight for the Earthquake, and seeing what the Clefable wants to do. They actually do let it go, so that's fine. I'm just going to overfarm a little bit here and throw the... I'm not going to force them to throw. I do decide to shield here, so I am actually going to bank 2 Rock Slides here. I think that's what I decide to do. Yeah, I'm basically at the back-to-back Rock Slides at this point. If the opponent does want to shield, they can definitely do that, but I do have the back-to-back, so they just let it go, and that's fine. And they come back in with the Altaria. Gonna overfarm a little bit more here, and then throw the Rock Slide. just to see what they want to do. And they actually do decide to let it go. And I'm just going to see what they have in the back, and it's a Skarmory. So this game is basically over. It's going to go ahead and get a Rock Slide in here to chip the Skarmory. And then now I can just swap into Haxorus, and this is game over pretty much from this point. Gonna go straight for their Breaking Swipe here after, and then this is a CMP tie, it looks like. So gonna throw the Breaking Swipe here just to debuff their attack. They do shield, but again, this game is basically over. So I'm gonna go ahead and mirror the shield and just finish the game with Haxorus and see what we can do here. But of course, as you know, this is counter, and the counters are actually starting to add up on the Skarmory. I'm gonna go a couple more here, just finish it off with the Surf. So it doesn't really matter what I throw here at this point. This should be a game. So that's going to be a good game. Very well played to my opponent. And we're hopping into the next battle here. We have Noctowl on the lead up against an Azumarill. So Azumarill is going to be very tricky for this team to deal with. All of the Pokemon can struggle a little bit against Azu. But I'm going to stay in here with a Noctowl for the time being and see what the opponent wants to do. So I'm going to start throwing some Sky Attacks here. Going to get this first one off against the Azu. Going to let this first move go. It's currently going to be the Ice Beam. And it is. It will do a good amount of damage here to my Noctowl. Going to go ahead and continue to overfarm here a little bit. And then potentially throw the next Sky Attack right here. And it does look like it was a CMP tie. So let's see what the opponent wants to do. They do decide to shield this one. And I actually do catch the next move onto my Stunfisk. So that's fine. Let's see what the opponent wants to do from here. The Azu goes ahead and gets an Ice Beam. And they come in with a Scrafty. So this isn't that good. They are going to be able to go for a Pup here against the G-Fisk. And then I think I should be able to reach the Earthquake here and either force the last shield from the opponent or do some good damage here against the Scrafty. So the Scrafty actually does decide to shield, which is great for me. What I'm going to do here is I am going to come in with a Noctowl, and I will have to commit a shield. And just even though it is a Power Punch, I do want to get off a Sky Attack here just to be able to take out the Scrafty or do some good damage to it. Although at this point the Haxorus will be stuck against the Azumarill, so I'm just going to go ahead and swap in right now and just see what the opponent wants to do here. And they actually come in with an Ariados, so this isn't too bad. Going to go ahead and fire off a Breaking Swipe here against the Ariados. And I'm just going to continue to chip this thing and see what the opponent wants to do here. And they do go for a move. And I decide to let this go. It is a lunge, and that actually almost takes out my Haxorus. So that's actually pretty not that good. But I am going to go for another Breaking Swipe here to take out the Ariados. So that is fine. The Ariados goes down to the Breaking Swipe. Although now the Azumarill can just farm me down here with a Bubble. And at this point, I think the Noctowl is almost at the... Oh, the Noctowl does make a move, which is a Sky Attack. But even at this range, it might still not be enough to take out the Azumarill. And it is, actually. But we do go down with 1 HP remaining from the Azumarill. So that was a very close loss and very well played to my opponent there. In the next battle here, we have Noctowl up against another Haxorus. So a lot of people are starting to run Haxorus because it actually is a pretty good anti-meta Pokemon at the moment. Because of the Dragon typing and the counter coverage as well. Does well against quite a few types. And of course, this Haxorus, of course, goes for their Breaking Swipe of their own. And I'm just going to tank that first one, no problem. And I'm going to fire off a Sky Attack here against their Haxorus. Does get the shield. Haxorus, of course, is a Glass Cannon. And I'm just going to go for another Sky Attack here. Of course, Haxorus does win CMP. So I am going to shield this one, and I will force the opponent to either shield or just let their Haxorus go. So I'm going to go ahead and fire off another Sky Attack here against the Haxorus, and the opponent does decide to pivot into a Lantern. So this is actually pretty dangerous. I do try to catch a move onto the Stunfisk. I don't know why I swapped after 5. I should have swapped after 7 to try to catch the Thunderbolt. But now the Stunfisk is going to get hit with a Surf, and the Stunfisk is already going to be hit with another Surf, so I am going to let this go. Surf and a Lantern still does quite a lot of damage here, of course, but the Sparks are applying almost no fast move pressure, so I'm going to go straight for the Earthquake here, wanting to see if I can grab the last shield from the Lantern. And I'm able to get it, which is great. Although the unfortunate thing here is that the Lantern could farm me down, and I thought I was going to be able to make an Earthquake, but I was mistaken. So what I'm going to do here is just make a Shadow Ball here against this Lantern, and I'm able to chip with the Shadow Ball here. And now I'm going to leave the rest up to Haxorus and see what I can do here. And I do decide to try to tank this move from the Lantern, although I know Haxorus doesn't tank moves particularly well, and as you can see, this Thunderbolt does much more than I anticipated. So gonna go ahead and let that move go through, and they do come in with a Stunfisk of their own. So what I'm gonna do here is try to go for 2 Surfs, and I do have to be mindful of a catch from my opponent, so that Surf does a lot of damage here, and they actually do try to catch the move onto their own Haxorus, but luckily I held onto my energy. I needed one more counter to get to my next Surf anyway, so I'm able to counter down their Haxorus and get to this next Surf to take out their Stunfisk. So that's a great game, very well played. Hopping into the next battle here, we have Noctowl up against a Lantern. This is a terrible lead. So of course I am going to swap into my Stunfisk here and see what the opponent wants to do. I'm going to go ahead and overfarm a little bit and go for a Rock Slide bait. It is a little risky, but I'm hopeful I can grab a shield. The Surf will still do a great chunk of damage here to the Stunfisk, as we've seen before. So now I'm going to go ahead and fire off a Rock Slide bait up against this Lantern, and I do grab a shield, which is great. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to shield this next Surf, and I do want to start applying some shield pressure up against this Lantern, because I do know that a Haxorus with shields down can definitely do very well against almost anything in the meta, except for Charmers and whatnot. So I'm going to go for a next Earthquake, and now both shields are down. So I'm going to see if I can make another move, but I cannot, unfortunately. And I think I do decide to try to make a play for switch. I actually do not, so let's go ahead and let this go. And at this point, I am going to wait out the timer, of course, come in with Haxorus and see what the opponent wants to do here. And they actually swap into a Wigglytuff, so that's not great. I'm going to go ahead and pivot out back into my Noctowl here and see what the Wigglytuff wants to do. I'm going to go ahead and fire off a Sky Attack here. This is not going to be enough to KO the Wigglytuff, so I do need to shield this next Ice Beam here from the Wigglytuff that they do decide to throw. So I will commit the shield, and I think I try to do a very aggressive wing attack down here, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and try to do a few more wing attacks here. And luckily I'm able to wing attack down before the charm goes through. So now they have their own Stunfisk in the back. So this is going to be very tricky. And my switch timer is not up yet, and I'm going to be able to fire off 2 Shadow Balls here up against their Stunfisk, so that's great. And I also know that the Stunfisk cannot much shut down my Noctowl here, so I'm going to go ahead and pivot back into the Haxorus and do a little combo play here against the Stunfisk, and I just snipe them with a Surf. And at this point, I just need to reach a breaking swipe here up against this Lantern. The Lantern is at a move. If it is a Thunderbolt, then it most likely will come very close to KOing, but it is a Surf, so it doesn't really KO here. And I am able to reach the breaking swipe here just in time. And this will definitely be taking out the Lantern from this range. So that's going to be a great game, very well played to my opponent. And that is the team, the Noctowl, Stunfisk, and the Haxorus. This is such a fun team to run. Haxorus was a lot of fun to run, as I mentioned before. It is very glassy, and you definitely will need shields down to be able to allow it to do a lot of damage and wreak havoc on the rest of the meta. But let me know what you guys think of this team in the comments below. If you guys enjoy this type of content, feel free to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel as well. Any help would be greatly appreciated. And of course, if you want to be notified with any future videos that I come up with, feel free to hit that notification bell so you stay tuned to the latest updates that I will be providing. And that will be it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.